What's going on, everybody? From a rainy Hawaii, giving you another video, another entry into the utility series. This time I'm going to go with XLM on the peer-to-peer transactions. And some people have asked me this question quite a bit on the redundancy with things like Venmo and WhatsApp. I'm sorry, Venmo and Cash App, and even Zelle, which is one of the bigger peer-to-peer cash transaction apps in the world. But based on fiat dollar, based on the banking system, those actually have quite a limited amount of users and subscribers, in contrast to something else that Stellar could take advantage of, which is a customer and user base that's already in place. So let me get into my whiteboard OneNote. Going to share my screen. Let's see if we, nope, I don't want a calculator. Let's go here. All right. And basically what's interesting here is to look at the difference between peer-to-peer payment systems versus peer-to-peer messaging systems on a social end. What normally we're used to with peer-to-peer transactions is Venmo, Cash App, and Zelle, I think, are the three biggest. Remitly I've used before as well. Wise I have not, but these are the top ones, ranging from about 8 million all the way up to 120 million users. And what it is you send it Cash App to Cash App. It's really bank to bank, and it's validated by the bank, received by the bank, and sometimes they'll charge you a fee if you want it immediately deposited into your bank, or if you want to wait till Tuesday, they'll say, hey, you'll get the full amount if you wait till Tuesday, but we'll charge you like $1.20 if you want it to be liquid right away. And that's how those systems necessarily work. Now, it doesn't make sense for Stellar to create an app using XLM and competing with these Momos, because these Momos already have their user base system in. They have their software that you use, and it is solely for the purpose of sending money and transmitting it back and forth. So on the app side from peer-to-peer wouldn't make sense. So we're not going to do that. But what it does make sense for Stellar to do is, if you look on the right side, look at the peer-to-peer messaging systems and active users. And that Twitter is a monthly active users. It's not how many people are actually on the app itself. But starting with Slack at 54 million, all the way up to Instagram at 3.8 billion, I think Telegram and WhatsApp are probably the two most prominent. It would make sense for the Stellar Foundation to start the partnerships with these guys over here who already have that base built in. And if you look at an app like WhatsApp, which I do use, I have friends around the world who use it, and it's very convenient for that messaging, and not having to call between borders. But on the bottom of that app, when you're actually using it to communicate, you have chats, you have updates, you have communities, you have calls. It wouldn't be too much of a stretch of the imagination for a certain app update to have another little tab at the bottom that said payments on it. And the thought of it behind here is that let's just take these two, Telegram and WhatsApp. Now there's some crossover because I have both as well, but that's over 3 billion users between those two. So if you're looking for kind of a market and an inroad for your technology to make very quick and cheap, seamless payments and across borders, because Stellar does that too, as much as XRP does, from the person-to-person transaction sense, it would make sense to go after those two companies from a business standpoint, at least from a partnership and marketing standpoint. And let's look at the tactics of this and what this would look like. Now, naturally, with XLM peer-to-peer transactions, they're going to start with a bank. That bank in the USA is going to get dollars. Dollars will be transmitted into XLM. On your WhatsApp, it's XLM to XLM across borders. If you have a friend in Spain, that XLM spits out euros, and then they could spit that euro money value, whatever it is, back into their own bank in Spain. And instead of like Cash App and Venmo having banks in the middle of those transactions to validate them, what we're looking at is no bank in the middle. It's literally peer-to-peer, and the bank does not exist in that transaction. It only exists on the back end if the user decides to actually send it to that bank so they can pay bills or do whatever they want with it. So it's a different thought on it, but WhatsApp has 2.1 billion users on it. Again, wouldn't be out of the ordinary or a stretch, or at least the rumor and word on the street is that this is kind of the direction that the Stellar Foundation would be going into, to set up these channel partners. Maybe third parties go through these social media apps and communication tools. Stellar isn't exactly in the social communication media business, so it would make sense for them to actually route that avenue, and that takes the bank out of the middle. And then let's take a look at some other items that you may have, like Telegram. That purple one is Viber. I've never used it, but I know that's what it is from the symbol. Instagram, everybody I'm sure is familiar with, and then that bottom one is Snapchat. Why not go through these routes as well, to the point where maybe it isn't exactly Telegram to Telegram, but maybe Telegram partners with Instagram, and they can do their little interoperability cross social media aspects, and using XLM as the underlying validation tech for anybody who has used XLM from either your brokerage account, your exchange, to your wallet. You'll know that it doesn't take very long. It's very similar to XRP, 5, 10, 15 seconds to validate and transfer that wealth. And it's there on the other side. We don't have to wait for the banks to open up on Monday or Tuesday after a holiday. We don't have to wait for the banks to say, oh, if you want the full amount, you're gonna have to wait till Tuesday, Wednesday. None of that happening. But this could be a different avenue for peer-to-peer transactions, because there are a lot of people who are unbanked. They don't have the banking system in the normal TradFi sense that they're hooked up to. And it may be in some cases, you could tell just by the numbers. Venmo, Cash App, and Zelle, you're talking 350 million, 250 million between the three of them. On the social end, plenty more people doing that. So from the traditional finance system that seems to be going away like the dodo bird, you can see probably where this is headed just by looking at the left side and the right side of these numbers alone. Now let's go down even further, for the unbanked as well. There is reason to believe that we can even do this with QR codes and not have router numbers and account numbers, to where XLM is spit out on dollars in the USA on one side, spits it over to the other one in Spain in euros, and then it's sitting in an account in a VAT in a holding place on your WhatsApp. And you can just go and use the QR codes from the value that you've exchanged back and forth. Starbucks uses it. I know they do. Clothing stores, department stores, maybe a local microbrewery, maybe even a movie theater. So coming in from that end, when merchants start accepting this stuff and using the QR codes as they have been with the traditional banking system, now they're just using it with the crypto and underlying blockchain system and distributed ledger system. This could be the world that we're heading into. So with peer-to-peer transactions, Stellar isn't competing with Venmo and Cash App and Remitly and Zelle. They're probably going to be going into the companies that already have a solid user base and showing the value of what they can do from a peer-to-peer standpoint, from very, very few fractions of a penny, and validated in seconds might be the next evolution of the social communication side of these little devices that we hold in our hands and don't go anywhere without our cell phones too. So thinking about this in a different manner, again, remember, buy the rumor, sell the news. Think about this as where the use case for XLM, different from XRP, but the world is wide open for what they're able to do and what they're able to accomplish. So I hope this made sense. I hope this helped. Giant hugs.